Welcome to my daily review. You're looking at a daily chart of the Nasdaq, which was up another 25 points today, or 0.14%, and closed at 18,429. You can see that we've been in this power trend for quite some time, and even though the index went up, it got a little closer to its moving averages. Yesterday was 2.1% above the 10, today 1.8. It was 3.8 above the 21, now it's 3.5, and yesterday was 8.2% above the 50, and now it's just 8% above this red line, which is the 50 simple moving average. Anyway, we're in an uptrend, and the trend is your friend, so don't fight the tape. And anyway, I don't trade the Nasdaq, I trade stocks, and I'm going to take a look at some stocks here. A little shorter video today. I've been a little busy. But anyway, Apple just continuing its onslaught here of its uptrend, and just making a higher high here, higher highs, higher lows, definition of an uptrend. If I take a look at the weekly chart, you can see how it broke out of that base on base pattern and is now moving higher. Microsoft, the last couple of days sold off a little bit. It's down 1.72% this week, but made a high last week and just pulled back a little bit here to its 10 EMA today. Microsoft looks fine. Google, another stock like Microsoft, it's just kind of, it's a little extended, so it's just pulling back a little bit, allowing the moving averages to catch up, doing nothing wrong at all. Amazon and Meta are the two of the Mag 7, which I think are closest to a buy point there. Obviously, the standard buy point there is 190, 170, but it's just hugging this 200 area. And I think once it breaks through that resistance of the psychological large number, I think it's going to rip right through 200, and that'll be in the rear view mirror. Meta Platforms is another one that's, of these mega cap tech stocks, this one is the one that's closest to a buy point. This one in Amazon, where it just broke out from the 514 last week, went up to 540, and now it's pulled back and allowing the moving averages to catch up. So Meta looks good as well. So the last two are Tesla and NVIDIA. And Tesla's have a 10-day win streak. Obviously, it had this little consolidation period and then just has ramped higher following its deliveries report, where investors are figuring out that it's an energy play. And NVIDIA is the king of AI. Obviously, a lot of people own this one and are interested in it. It was up 2.5% today, so that's a good day for the longs. It broke out, ran up, and then at 46%, now it pulled back to the 21 found support. Now it's trading above its moving averages once again. So NVIDIA just can't keep her down. It won't back down. You can't keep it down. All right. So that's it for the Mag 7 stocks, the indexes. I want to take a look at some of these semiconductor names that are, with NVIDIA and in AI, and that are looking pretty good. This is kind of similar to Tesla here, where it's got this little consolidation phase for a long while. Broke out last Friday, followed through on Monday, and pulled back slightly today. But definitely watch AMD here. That thing looks good as it builds out the right side of its base. Let me see. Looking at this, you could actually say this kind of broke above its downtrending line here on Friday. So yeah, kind of like this one. Okay, the other one is ARM, which we had on our regular list. It just blew up. It was what, 164 up to I forget. It made a new high today, and then pulled back ever so slightly. 188. Yeah, that's a heck of a move. $24 move for ARM. And then Qualcomm is another one of these large mega cap, a large cap, 231 billion market cap semiconductor name. This one broke out, pulled back to its 50 for the first time, found support. Now it's trading above all of its moving averages. So Qualcomm looks fantastic. Let me see, what else do I have? Oh, Broadcom, definitely one of the leaders in the semiconductor group. Once again, 806 billion market cap. This is not a small company. Broke out, pulled back to the 21, found support. Now it's above its moving averages, even though it gave some back today. There was a lot of stocks that were down today, even though the the index was up. Ultra Clean Holdings, UCTT, I've showed you this one last week, broke out of this base. double bottom base made a new high today. So the semiconductors look pretty darn good. Somebody asked me to look at MRVL. It's definitely a laggard, but you know, they're looking for it to break above this, you know, downtrending line. So yeah, we could look for that. We'll see. I guess it did yesterday, pull back a little today, but definitely a laggard, but it is consolidating within a base and has shown the ability to move. So those are two things that I like. So that's why it was pointed out to me. So anyway, that's enough for the semiconductor names, don't you think? I have to get to this these drug names. And Novo Nordisk, why won't it go down? Joe Biden says you charge too much for your stocks, your drugs. Bernie Sanders called in the CEO for his committee hearing meetings, and the CEO said, "Sure, I'll show up. I believe this fall, maybe October, November, something like that." Bernie wants to talk about the high price of drugs. Biden slammed him. Bernie slammed him. There was a report last week that their drug caused blindness. These drugs have been out for a long, long time, and nobody's ever claimed they're blinded from them. So it's kind of a sketchy report. Then today, the Journal of American Medical Association, JAMA, came out with a report stating that Lilly's drug is better than Novo Nordisk. And I don't know why all this attack on Novo Nordisk. I don't get it. But they're definitely, well, first of all, the CEO from Novo Nordisk, he commented on this. Novo says that you're not making apples to apples comparison. This is apples to oranges because they took Eli Lilly's weight loss drug and compared it to Novo Nordisk diabetes drugs. There's a difference there. And so he said, we would love to have, you know, an investigation or into a trial on those head-to-head you know, weight loss or diabetes drugs, but you can't compare one to the other. And so they did comment on that. I don't think Lilly commented on it, and Lilly's funded JAMA trials before. So and this to me is a buying opportunity. And I would just with all this attack on Novo Nordisk, you would think the stock would go down, but this thing's trading tight. So it tells me that institutions are supporting it. And this is stealth accumulation. I wouldn't be surprised to see this thing rip higher pretty soon. Because if they can't push it down, like with all this bad news, if they can't push it through the 50, you know, which today was 136.40, when they can't push it down through, then they still might later on this week, you know, they could still attack this thing. But if they can't push it lower, then it's going to either go flat and more than likely going to go higher. So definitely one that I'm watching, one that I have on my watch list. And I'm not really understanding all the attacks on just Novo, and Lilly gets a complete pass. Lilly's another stock that I own, another stock that I like. It's been up 10 weeks in a row, I believe, or 12 weeks in a row. I ran out of fingers down here. It's been up every week for a long time. And since April 19th, that's when the rally started. So hello, Eli Lilly, definitely a leader in trading higher and getting some good vibes and some good love from some of the publications. A little help along the way doesn't hurt. This is TGTX, and this one's still consolidating in a stage one base. These guys, you know, they're taking market share. They've got the VA contract. Once earnings are come out on August 7th, I believe they're going to blow the shorts up here. And, you know, it's trading tight within a base, consolidating. This thing looks fantastic to me. And I think it's going to trade higher. VKTX, this has benefited from, you know, the Novo. I guess the deal is they have better drugs. They can't get them to market though. These guys, I believe, are just looking for a buyout. Traded up 6% today, so that's a nice move for Viking. ADMA is another one that I like. You know, obviously it broke out and ripped higher, but they have earnings and sales. They have this is not a fly-by-night speculative biotech stock. This is a legitimate business with strong earnings and sales growth, and they raised guidance recently. So don't take your eye off that one. HALO. Amazon made a new high today. I think I talked about this yesterday or the day before, how it's just kind of forming this little box here and just looking to break above it. So that's what you want to see, break above it, a little bit of volume. So yeah, it broke out of its little box there. So congrats to the longs, making new highs there. Looks good. Halo, it's still, to me, I think it's still actionable, not getting too far ahead of itself. EBS, this is one that I was going to put on my ready list this week, and I didn't. I went through about 20, 25 stocks, and I cut it down to, I think, about 10 or 12. This is one that I left off, and I'm kind of sorry I did. It's up 10% in 2 days. Looks pretty darn good, showing a lot of strength, surfing its moving averages. It had an $8 buy point. VRTX, Vertex, another one that I like. Why? Well, it made a new high, pulled back to its moving average, and then now bouncing higher. So Vertex looks fantastic too. All right. Like I said, there was a lot of stocks that were down today that didn't fare very well. I'm gonna get into a few of them. The software names were getting sold. This is Elastic. Just pulled back to its 21 EMA, not a big deal, but just noticing the rotation out of some of these software names and into the mega cap tech stocks for sure. This is Spotify. This stock is driving me absolutely crazy. Just an inside day today, and it's just going sideways. You can see how long this thing has been hanging around 313 since, take a guess, early April. Yeah, April, it made a high there of 313.16 on April 8th. So that's June, July, 2 months of sideways. I'm tired of going sideways. Please break out and trade higher. Spotify. CrowdStrike, another stock that I own. It looks a lot like Nova, where it's just going sideways. Little stealth accumulation, I believe, where it's just forming this box, pulling back to its moving averages, and it's shaking people out. It's got to break out of that box before I get interested in it. It's shaking people out in the morning, and you cannot fall for this trick. Early morning, right out of the gate, 5-10 minutes in, it's 397, and then 10 minutes later, it's 379. That's a hell of a shakeout. $18. That's what it did yesterday. Today, it went even higher, went 398.33, and then sold off down to 388, and all the way down to 384, and closed, $4 or $5 lower today. So, but still, just trading sideways. This again looks like Novo stealth accumulation. Don't sleep on that one, and don't get shaken out. A couple of its partners, Palo Alto's one. It got this cup with a handle, traded down to its 10 EMA today. This thing looks like it's ready to break out. Looks pretty good. This is Datadog. This is not a Chihuahua. This is a pit bull. But today it pulled back. It's a pullback retriever. Didn't even make it to its 21, but still looks pretty good, consolidating within a base. Just noticing the pullback in the software names. IGV, the software ETF, was down 1.6%. So you could see it pull back to its 10 EMA. So not a good day for your software names. Snowflake, another software name that's kind of been struggling here. It met resistance at the 50 and got rejected. Like Matambo. All right, the retail group is driving me crazy. It has no strength since the Nike Lululemon reports, and it's just a tough tape to make any headway here with any of these stocks in these retail apparel shoes group. Nike killing the drill here. You could see this in a clear downtrend. Lululemon, the same thing. All the moving averages heading south. These look sick. Makes me sick to look at them. Deckers, selling off with those other names in the group. Those are the big kahunas, and Deckers is selling off with it. Crocs, same thing, and no strength here. Married to the 50, squatting there, can't go anywhere. ONON, same thing, near the 50. Just these things have sold off. They're really strong groups it was in the top 5, now it's down to 13. It's going the other way. It's going the wrong way. And it's not just the shoe groups, it's the retail restaurant groups are getting hammered now. Chipotle had a 50 for 1 stocks, but you got to figure there's going to be a lot of selling here. They just this one of the first things I look at when I'm looking at a stock is the float. And this went from 27 million to 1.345 billion. So this is just a, from a speedboat to a battleship, and I am no longer interested in Chipotle. They're just too big. Cannot move, cannot get out of its own way, and there's just too much supply. Bros pulled back to its 10 EMA today, but definitely one thing to note here. Yeah, it sold off. It was down nearly 4%, but it's making, higher lows along this way here, 33.90, down from 26. So higher lows and then higher highs. That's a nice little channel that it's in. So yeah, pull back to the 10, but Dutch Bros is still in his strong uptrend. CAVA sold off today as well. Like I said, the retail restaurant stocks got hammered today. Now maybe it'll pull back to its 50, or maybe, the rotation will come back into them tomorrow. You never know. But I kind of like this one. If it can, find support at the 21 and then start to bounce above 96 that would be a sharp move for a CAVA. And it has that ability. Sweet Greens I don't know what happened to it. It just sliced a 50 and shown weakness, and adios muchachos. So these earnings gaps that it had on March 1st, and then it had a gap on May 10th. Now it's below the lows of that earnings gap, and even filled this gap here, I believe, right? It was 2403, and today 2431. So no, it's very close to filling that gap. Sweet Greens, definitely one that I'm still watching. But man, it's fallen on hard times. There's no doubt about it. Shake Shack, another one, just going nowhere. I've got to mention some of these drink names. Celsius, you can just look at the chart in a downtrend. Monster, I believe that the weight loss drugs are finally hitting some of the beverage and the the alcoholic beverage stock. This is Diageo, just getting hammered, just cannot get out of its own way. This is SAM, a beverage, Samuel Adams, and other alcoholic stocks. I think the weight loss drugs are hitting the food groups and the beverage groups and the alcohol groups, and people are just not consuming as much when you have so many people on the weight line. And this is good for the country. This is good for the health of people, and it's great. If you don't want to go to the gym and lose weight, you take a drug and lose weight. You don't have the same appetite. Losing weight and taking strain off your heart, kidneys, and liver is always a good thing, no matter how you do it. Obviously, if you take drugs, you're robbing Peter to pay Paul, but it's always good to be lighter and consume less. And these stocks are definitely showing the consumer it could also be inflation. The food costs so much they can't afford as much at the grocery store. This is General Mills, the cereals and specialty foods, and they actually have dog food as well. But I just wanted to point that out. The weight loss drugs, I think, are having an impact on the food, beverage, and alcoholic industries. Anyway, that's it for me. I'll be back tomorrow, except for I have one more thing. I'm mad at myself today because I showed you yesterday SITM. I showed you EBS earlier, which I was going to have on my ready list, and I didn't. It's up like 10%. And this one consolidating in a base. You can see this flat trading here, consolidation, and it moved higher last week, 7%. I didn't put it on this week, and again, this thing makes a new high, up 10%. So in honor of the great Steve Jobs, that's my one more thing. I'm an idiot. Is it still actionable? I think so. I'm not going to put it on the ready list tomorrow because it's too far away from its MAs, but it's still within, that 141, or we'll call it 142, just a little bit above it. It's just extended from its 10 EMA, 11% above, 11.5% above the 10 EMA. I'm going to take a pass on that. Just wanted to point that out, that, gosh, sometimes you see them and you don't respond or react, and that's just part of the market. That's the way it goes sometimes. You can't kiss all the babies. And anyway, at mcstockcharts.com, we never give up, and I'll see you in the morning. Thank you for watching, and never give up.